Have you ever really stopped to think, what does it actually mean to be alive? I mean, it's got to be more than just breathing or moving, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the 4 fundamental jobs that every single living thing, from the tiniest microbe to a giant blue whale, has to do every second of every day just to exist. Let's dive in.
So let's start with a question that sounds super simple but really isn't. What's the actual difference between, say, a running dog and a rock? You might think, well, one moves, the other doesn't. But what about a river? That moves. The real difference, the scientific line in the sand, is way more incredible, and it's happening at a level you can't even see.
You see, the secret isn't just movement, it's organized molecular movement. Think of it like this. The entire universe is always trying to break things down, to create chaos. Life is the ultimate rebellion against that. It's this constant, microscopic flurry of activity, repairing, building, and fighting to maintain order. That organized defiance, that's what it really means to be alive. Now, to pull off this nonstop molecular dance, every organism has to master 4 critical jobs, 24/7. First, you got to get fuel. Second, you have to unlock the energy inside that fuel. Third, you need a delivery system, a kind of superhighway, to get it everywhere. And finally, you have to take out the trash. So let's start with job number 1. First up, nutrition. This is all about getting the raw materials and the energy you need to keep that whole molecular construction project running. Because let's face it, without a steady supply of fuel, the entire system just grinds to a halt. And it turns out, all of life has pretty much settled on 2 basic strategies for this. You can basically split all life on Earth into 2 teams, the makers and the takers. The makers, also known as autotrophs, are the ultimate do-it-yourselfers. Think of plants. They literally build their own food out of sunlight and air. And then there are the takers, the heterotrophs. And yep, that's us. We have to get our energy by eating other organisms. So how do the makers do it? Well, the most famous process is photosynthesis, and it's pure genius. First, a plant absorbs sunlight using chlorophyll. Then it uses that light energy to literally rip water molecules apart. And finally, it grabs carbon dioxide from the air to build energy-packed sugars. It is, no joke, a solar-powered sugar factory, and it basically fuels the entire planet. Now, being a taker isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. There are a few different playbooks. You've got the planet's cleanup crew, the saprophytes, like fungi that munch on dead stuff. Then you have the parasites, who steal their meals from a living host. And finally, there's the holozoic strategy. That's what we do, where you swallow solid food and break it down inside your body. And that holozoic process, get this, whether you're a human being or a single-celled amoeba, it follows the exact same 5 steps. You take the food in, that's ingestion. You break it down, digestion. You soak up the nutrients, absorption. Your cells use those nutrients, assimilation. And finally, you get rid of what's left over, egestion. Same 5 steps. Okay, so you've got the fuel. Awesome. But that fuel is totally useless if you can't unlock the energy that's stored inside it. And that brings us to job number 2, respiration. And this is about way more than just breathing. This is the nitty-gritty molecular process of turning food into actual usable power. Now, there are 2 main ways to do this, and the difference between them is massive. If you have oxygen, you can do aerobic respiration. It's a super clean, efficient burn that squeezes about 38 units of energy, or ATP, out of 1 sugar molecule. But without oxygen, you're stuck with anaerobic respiration. It's messy, it's inefficient, you only get about 2 ATP, and it leaves behind junk like lactic acid. That's what makes your muscles burn during a workout. It's the difference between a huge power plant and a tiny watch battery. And for big creatures like us, that's exactly why breathing is so critical. Our whole respiratory system, from your nose all the way down to the millions of tiny little air sacs in your lungs, is just a super sophisticated machine for gas exchange. Its one and only job is to get oxygen from the air into our blood so that every single one of our cells can do that super efficient energy-making process. Okay, so we've got fuel, check. We know how to unlock its energy, check. But now we have a huge logistical problem. How in the world do you get those things to every single one of the trillions of cells in your body? That leads us straight to job number 3, transportation. You have to build an internal delivery network. For humans, that delivery network is our amazing circulatory system. And I want you to think of it as a vast, living superhighway. It is constantly flowing, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every last cell. And at the exact same time, it's acting as a garbage collection service, hauling away all the waste products before they build up and become toxic. So what's the engine of this superhighway? The heart, of course. It's a brilliant four-chambered pump that runs what we call a double circulation system. And here's how it works. The right side of the heart pumps blood on a quick trip to the lungs to grab oxygen. That fresh, oxygen-rich blood then comes back to the left side of the heart, which gives it a powerful push for the long-haul journey to the rest of the body. It's an incredibly smart design. And the roads themselves come in three main types. You've got the arteries, with their thick, muscular walls, designed to carry high-pressure blood away from the heart. Then you've got veins, which bring blood back towards the heart. They have thinner walls and even have little one-way valves. And finally, connecting them all are the capillaries. These are microscopic side streets, so incredibly thin that supplies can pass right through their walls to the cells. And that brings us to our final and maybe most underappreciated job of all. See, all these processes, eating, making energy, growing, they all create waste products. And if that metabolic trash starts to pile up, it becomes poisonous fast. So job number 4 is excretion. You have got to take out the trash. In us humans, the star player here is the urinary system. Your kidneys are a pair of amazing high-tech filters. Your entire blood supply passes through them about 40 times a day, and their main goal is to pull all the toxic junk, like urea, right out of your bloodstream. So how in the world does a kidney do that? Well, if you could zoom in, like way in, you'd find the real workhorses, millions of microscopic filtering units called nephrons. It's inside these tiny, complex structures that your blood gets cleaned up, drop by drop. The process itself is a brilliant two-step system. First, under high pressure, almost everything small gets squeezed out of the blood. It's called ultrafiltration. It's like throwing everything out of your closet onto the floor. Then, as that liquid moves along, all the useful stuff, water, glucose, important salts, gets pulled back into the blood. That's reabsorption, picking up the clothes you want to keep. And what's left over? That's urine, just the concentrated waste the body needs to dig. So when you put it all together, you realize something pretty profound. Life isn't really a state of being. It's not a noun, it's a verb. It's the continuous, nonstop, interconnected act of performing these 4 jobs: getting fuel, unlocking its power, delivering it everywhere, and then cleaning up the mess. It's a dynamic process that defines existence itself. So, at the end of the day, it really is that simple. Those 4 core functions: nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion. Those are the official life processes. They are the absolute non-negotiable rules for playing the game of life. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought. These same 4 fundamental jobs are being done by everything from a tiny amoeba to a massive elephant. Yeah, the strategies are different, but the core problems are exactly the same. So, what does this deeply shared biology, this shared instruction manual, tell us about our connection to every other living thing on this planet? Something to think about.